Okay, one last thing before we get into um, setting up our whole session to record is I want to make a special point about monitor modes because this can get you into a lot of trouble. Um, Monitor modes are down here. So what these monitor modes do is the way to think about this is think about do I need to hear it while I'm recording it? Think of monitor as a play through button. Do I want it to route through the track and then come right back out the speakers? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So let me just see if I can set this up a little cleaner. I'm going to get rid of this MIDI track, get rid of that MIDI track just by hitting the delete key. Let's even get rid of this other audio track. So I've just got one here, one nice big track. Okay, so this is using my internal microphone. That's what this external in is doing. It's listening to my internal. So if I tap on my computer, you'll see it, right? It's not using the same microphone that I'm using. So I have a kind of a weird setup here. The microphone I'm using to talk into is routed into my screen capture software. So it's using the internal microphone, and the output is the internal speakers. So if I go here to audio input device, built-in microphone, right? Not the Motu, right? So I'm on built-in microphone and my output is built-in output. What that means is that if I tell this to play through, everything you get in the microphone play out, it's going to create instant feedback. So we wouldn't want to do that in this case, right? So if I say monitor in, monitor the input, right? So everything that comes in, spit it back out. It's going to create feedback in a heartbeat. Just to prove it, oops. And there it was. Because everything that comes in is going out through the speakers, which is hearing the input, which is sending it out through the speakers. It's a cycle. That's feedback. So I don't want the monitor input here. Now, why would I want that? The reason I would want that is, let's say I wanted to hear what was being recorded, and in a situation just like this, all I'd really have to do to remedy the feedback situation is put on headphones. If I put on headphones, it's not going to feed back. And then I can hear what's being recorded. I could hear the tone of my voice. I could hear, if I was recording, a guitar, I would be able to hear the tone that's coming in, and the levels and adjust it. So I would want to hear it in that case. So I could set the monitor to in just to hear what's coming into the track, right? But in this case, since I don't have headphones hooked up, I'm not in a separate room from where the microphone is. That would also solve the situation, by the way. If the microphone was in a separate room, I'm going to leave monitor to off. Now there's this auto mode also, right? So I can safely turn that on right now, actually, because what auto does is it basically says the monitor mode is going to be controlled by the record setting. So when auto is on, that means we're basically not monitoring. So monitoring is off until we arm the track to record, and then monitoring turns on. So it basically moves the control of the monitoring to our arm to record. So if I turn on this track to record right now, again, we're going to get instant feedback, right? So because it's going to start monitoring. So those are your three monitor modes. They're important because if you don't pay attention to them, you're going to get feedback, and that can be painful and dangerous to your speakers, actually. So we want to avoid that as much as we can. So when you're fiddling around with microphones, just turn your monitoring mode off, and plug in all your microphones, get everything set up, and then decide what you want to do with your monitoring, especially if you're in a one-room studio, you're not wearing headphones, things like that. Just leave it off and then think about how to set it up for each individual track that you want to do. But just remember, if you want to hear what's being recorded while it's being recorded, you've got to have the monitoring to either in or auto. If you don't need to hear it or can't hear it because it'll cause feedback, leave it on off all the time. And then you'll be able to listen to the track played back once it's recorded just fine. Even when it's on off, you'll be able to listen to the playback and it won't matter. So those are our monitoring modes. So keep an eye out for those now that you know how they work. So now, next, let's get into actual recording. We're going to start with arrangement view, and let's jump to a new video for that.